Whoop, whoop. There she is. Yay. Okay, you've joined. Um, okay, great. Well, but you're not in the video. I need you to be on the video. Invite. Okay, yeah, you got to hit the, yeah, to accept the invite. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Empowered Conversations. We are just working on some technical issues here, and everyone knows that Empowered Conversations is where I have amazing conversations with extraordinary people who are out in the world doing beautiful things in service to others and all around living their best lives. And that is none other than my guest today. Stacey Freeman, y'all. Stacey Freeman had no idea what she was in for when she looked inside her husband's suitcase. But what she found would change the course of her and her children's lives forever. Set in Short Hills, New Jersey, I Bought My Husband's Mistress Lingerie tells the relatable story of a woman once happily married to her high school sweetheart who had watched her marriage slowly deteriorate without seeing the reality around her. But the moment she did and realized divorce and full physical custody of her three young children was imminent, she had no choice but to reevaluate her life, her goals, and her definition of success, taking readers around the world and back in time for an emotional ride through her childhood and adolescence, marriage, separation, and divorce, navigation of bicontinental co parenting, introduction to midlife dating, and return to work. Stacey Freeman invites readers to share in her hits and misses in this no holds barred portrayal of what happened in the aftermath of discovering the person she loved and trusted most had betrayed her. Oscillating between periods of despair and laughter, and often landing somewhere in between, Stacey Freeman's memoir and essays serves as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and how sometimes gifts can come from the most unexpected people and unexpected places. Stacey Freeman is a writer, a journalist, and founder of Right on Track LLC, a full-service consultancy dedicated to providing high-quality content and strategy to individuals and businesses. Her writing has appeared in the Washington Post, mariashriver.com, and dozens of other well-known platforms worldwide. Stacey lives in New Jersey with her three beautiful children. Everybody, drum roll, please help me in welcoming Stacey Freeman.
Hello.
Woo-hoo! Okay,
Hi.
so it says it's not go live with Stacey. It's not adding you on Instagram. I don't understand. It says that you're there. Oh, there
There.
you are!
Oh, I'm
Yay!
so close.
So, so what we need to do is turn your volume all the way down on your phone, but make sure not to mute yourself.
How's that?
Um, yeah, that is perfect. Okay. Can everybody on Instagram, if you could let us know, can you hear both Stacey and I? Stacey, if you could just say something, say hello, everybody.
Hello. I don't know where to look.
You're not looking at your phone?
Should I look at the phone or my computer? I don't even know where to look.
Actually, you know what? If you're looking at your computer, you're in alignment with the phone as well. So
Okay.
all is working.
Okay.
Great.
Yay.
So, Stacey, thank you so much. It's such an honor to have you here to share about yourself and like your triumph in life and all that you've been able. Like you're such a victor of your life, and it sounds like what you've created for yourself and your children. It's just so exciting, and I just admire and respect you so much because so many people look at adversity and they allow it to flatten them. They allow it to derail them instead of seeing, that so many things that happen in life when they are painful or hurtful, that they're happening to us instead of through us.
True.
Yeah.
You really have to kind of roll with things and pick yourself up when the unexpected happens, as it happened to me. And pretty much happens to everyone. I don't know
Mhm.
anyone who, hasn't faced adversity at some point in their lives.
Exactly, exactly. Can you turn the volume down on your phone, making sure it's on just,
More,
yeah.
it's all the way down.
Okay, perfect. So, so in some of the description of what you've shared, in your book as well, you talk about like this slowly deteriorating. Were there signs, that maybe like tapping on the shoulder that maybe you weren't paying attention to, or tell us about that.
Sure. So I was married to my high school sweetheart. We met when I was 15 and he was 17. And I got married fairly young. I was 22,
Hmm.
and we had just, we had a long relationship when we had gotten married, and we were kind of rolling along, with three small children. And we had moved to Hong Kong. That's where the bicontinental co-parenting piece eventually comes in. But we had gone over to Hong Kong for my husband's job, and I went over with our two little girls, and we came back with our third child. And
Hmm.
we lived there for 2.5, and we were kind of like, going along, with our lives. We came back to the States for 4 years, and um, I was busy with the kids. He was busy working.
Hmm.
We were great partners in the business of our lives, but
Hmm.
um, you know, looking back, you kind of see you're working together but not together,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And so, were there signs? Not in the middle of it, but I think looking back, you can, it's kind of easier to see, okay, maybe this is where things started to break down. And it's a gradual
Hmm.
breakdown. It's not all of a sudden one day. I mean, as it would appear from the book, one day there was an explosion. But yes,
Right.
that's true, but not completely.
Right.
So,
So tell us, so then this happens, and
mhm.
so you talk about like this boom realization, okay, trajectory, like pivot with my life.
Well,
So how did you?
the this that happens is that, I discovered, um, lingerie in my then husband's suitcase, which I knew wasn't for me. And,
Hmm.
I realized at that point that there were not just the two of us in our marriage. And, at that point, in that moment, I actually took the lingerie and cut it up. And then I quietly put it back. Um, and just, as I spent the next hours to days kind of
Hmm.
figuring out what was going on with my life, I, within a little bit, like, maybe 24 hours, I told him that what I had done with this lingerie.
Hmm.
And, he pretty much looked at me very calmly and said, I'm only going to buy her another one. And at that point, I had a decision to make, and, whether I was fully cognizant of what I was doing in that moment. I knew what I didn't want to do was
Hmm.
just be, this victim of what was
Hmm.
going on. And I said to him, okay, I'll do it, meaning buy her another one. And I went to the store, I went to the mall, to Victoria's Secret, and
Hmm.
I bought another, piece of lingerie to replace it, the exact same
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
And because I didn't want to be this, person who's this angry person. And believe
Right.
me, like, there were moments after that when, of course, I was very angry, and you go through just so many different emotions when you're experiencing a loss. And what I was going through was definitely a loss of my marriage, a loss of the idea that I had of what my life should be. And so you go through a grieving process, and anger
Hmm.
is very much a part of it. But I knew somewhere inside of me that I didn't want to just walk around perpetually angry and in this just state of misery. Because honestly, apart from not wanting that, and feeling, I'm not wanting to feel physically ill, because
Hmm.
that's how it makes you feel.
Hmm.
I had a life that I still had to maintain, taking care of children and my household. My children at the time were 11, 10, and 6, and I couldn't just stop. As much as I wanted to curl up in a bed, that wasn't possible. I had to make
Right.
dinner. Like after all this happened, like I still had to get up the next morning and get my children ready for school and drive them to school. Like this wasn't stopping anything.
Right.
So either, you kind of summon this strength inside to keep
Right.
going.
And I appreciate and respect the fact that you were able to realize that, this didn't kill me, and I have 3 kids. And how old was your youngest at the time?
6.
Okay, so 6. So I have
Mhm.
3 children, they still got to get to school. They still got to have their breakfast. They still got to,
Right.
and it's like that fight for your life. And it's like, and it also sounds like you were also realizing that just because this had happened doesn't mean that you couldn't have a future quality of life.
Well, I mean, at that point, I was very much minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day. I just needed to get through.
Yes.
So I wasn't projecting yet what was going to happen even a week down the road, because I honestly didn't know where I would be. I didn't know what was happening because I was at that point still trying to kind of reconcile and put things back together, make this all go away, which, as time gradually went on, I realized that's not happening.
Right.
So, but I was not projecting yet as, to what my next steps were. But the only thing I did at that time was within a week, I started looking for divorce lawyers because I wanted to at least have options for myself because, I've been around enough to know that things don't always work out. And I am, and I have been very much a planner. And that's what made this all the more shocking too, because, I didn't plan for any of this. And I did set out to find a lawyer right away. So,
Gotcha.
but I didn't do anything about it. I just kind of put that in, my back pocket.
Was there ever a thought in your mind to, well, what, I want to make this work. I want to forgive him. Maybe we could reconcile or our relationship. Was that ever a thought?
Oh yeah. I was petrified. I was actually very fearful of what was going on around me. And I really felt like things were out of control. So all I wanted to do was reconcile, make this all go away. And, I was dealing with a situation where I knew he was being unfaithful. And so, I also had to figure out if I was the type of person that would be forgiving of something like that. And some people are, and that's okay. This is, an individual decision. And I didn't know what my decision was going to be, who I was. I had never faced anything like this before. I'm the child of a widow. My parents were not divorced. I really wasn't around divorce very much. I had heard about it. There were people in my community who were divorced and friends, but no one I was really close with. And I didn't think about it in the way that, when you're in the throes of it, that it becomes this reality. So, yes, I was trying to reconcile for sure, but he didn't appear to have much interest in that. And so he was home and then he went back to Hong Kong because that's where he was living more of the time. And I just, for the next 3 months, kind of was in limbo, not knowing how this was going to pan out.
Right. So you had full custody of the children. So how did that?
Physical custody. Yeah.
Does he still live in Hong Kong?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes, he's remarried and has 2 beautiful little girls. So, he still lives there, and we co-parent from a distance of 8,000 miles away.
Yeah.
So, what the book is about is kind of this progression of, you have this startling moment, and then, how you cope with it, and move forward from something that is shocking in your life and changes your life, how you move forward and rebuild and, make it good for yourself and your family and everyone involved. So
Right, absolutely. And, I love how before we went live, you were expressing to me that, this is my children's father, and wanting to have that amicability and not have that animosity, because, and I know, people like this, but so
Hmm.
often there is this, when you are poisoning the minds of your children, unless there's physical sexual abuse or like severe, verbal abuse, when
Right.
you're just poisoning the minds of your children against your significant other, the person that, helped bring these children into the world, you're not doing anyone any favors. And it works both ways. And it's like all you're doing is further damaging them for the potential to have a healthy view of self and a healthy view of what a relationship can be. And even in the adversity that you two faced, um, shining a nicer light on, like, this is your father, this is your mother. We have our issue, but that has nothing to do with you.
Exactly. And you want to also point that out to other people that you
Mm-hmm.
deal with on a daily basis, because, you know, they are protective of you.
Mm-hmm.
You're their friend, you're their family member. And, it's very easy to say, oh, look what so and so did. Oh, how
Mm-hmm.
horrible. I
Mm-hmm.
can't believe you ever were married to this person. And it's not helpful to anybody. And it really is very hurtful. Um, you know, for someone to hear it, even if someone has done things that you don't exactly, agree with or find,
Right.
um, you know, just, that are in line with who you are. So, um, I think that's very important. And, it's not like this is, you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, okay, we're just going to get along.
Right.
This takes time. I mean, we're human beings. We have emotions. We're angry. We're sad. We're hurt. Like, it
Yeah.
takes time to learn how to get along,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be very much a skill you can learn, and it takes practice. So
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing, you know us 12, 10, 12 years down the road. He had started commuting back and forth to Asia in 2010. So
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing a progression, and you can very much learn how to do this. So I think that's the important takeaway, and it's so much better for the kids. And I think he and I would both agree that our kids turned out, you know, to be really nice people, and
Yeah.
well adjusted and successful. So, in their own right. And, that's what we all hope for our children.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be the driving goal of why you want to try to get along with your ex-spouse.
Mm-hmm. Right. Again, yeah, and it's so that, again, this happened for us, between us, but having nothing to do
Right.
with you. Because I think what happens oftentimes in those situations where the parents or the partners, try to poison the children against the other partner, is
And it
you're
may not
ultimately
even be
poisoning the
deliberate,
children.
but it may not even be
That's
deliberate.
true. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
saying poisoning, but you could do this and not even realize, it all it takes is a
Yeah.
subtle comment. And kids internalize things.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
don't realize how much they do. And that's, you're their parents and they identify with you. You're the people that have raised them. They imitate you, they have certain traits of yours. And so
Mm-hmm.
you want to be careful, because when you say something bad about your ex, in this, on some level, you're also saying this about the child, because they could resemble the parent, they could act like the parent.
Right.
I still laugh because my kids, each of them, will make a face and I'm like, ah, you look so much like dad,
Yeah.
just from an expression. And so you really want to be very careful about saying things that will undermine the other parent. And again, you don't wake up one day and say, oh my God, I'm going to be this perfect parent.
Yeah.
Parenting is not a perfect science. It's very much, imperfect. And so,
Mm-hmm.
we make mistakes along the way, but you have to just start from where you are that day and move forward.
Yeah, and that's in life, and that's in every aspect of life, no matter who you are. Like, I'm not married, never been married, have no children, but I can see in my own life, times where, certain decisions were made and like the outcome wasn't great. Okay, well, what did I learn? What did
Mhm.
I gain? What value did I gain from that situation? And
Exactly.
so you tell me about your Right on Track LLC. I love that. That's so cool. Such a
Thank
cool
you.
name.
Thank you. So I had started to write about my experience going through a separation and a
Hmm.
divorce and single parenting from, you know, between two continents. And
Hmm.
I also wanted to go back to work. I had been a stay-at-home mom for many, many years.
Hmm.
The kids were 11, 10, and 6. So I'd been home with them full time, which I loved. But I
Hmm.
had always wanted to do something. I have a law degree, but what I did know is that I didn't want to practice law. I wasn't sure, but I pretty much always, maintained that I didn't want to practice law. But I did want to write. And so
Hmm.
I had tried it before, but I never had that drive within me there was nothing really pulling me to write. And all of a sudden I had something. So I sat down at my kitchen island with my computer and I started writing. And, I always intended the blog that I started way back when to be an
Hmm.
online resume of sorts that
Right.
I could kind of showcase my skill set. And that's eventually what it became. So articles started getting picked up by other publications. I was submitting articles and um, in 2014, I formed an LLC and
Hmm.
actually, started my business. I had a few paid jobs before that, and I was like, okay, I can do this.
Hmm.
And I started my business. And over time, I was able to kind of pull in my legal background and work in legal content marketing as, in addition to working with other non-legal clients, and it just grew from there. So I, have a nice business and I love the clients I work with, and I do writing and editing and other writing services.
That's awesome.
And it brings me like tremendous gratification as well as, a salary
And joy. Yeah.
and joy.
Absolutely. And doing what you're passionate about.
Right. And I was able to monetize it, and it just it's my I always say it's my fourth baby. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, so totally worth it.
Yeah. So, the book that it just hit stores and Amazon yesterday.
Yes.
And so ironic that you're on today. And maybe that's why you chose the 16th. And I, I want people to, I posted a link, I think to the Amazon link, in one of the
Right.
advertisements that you were coming on today.
Thank you.
And so how you've been on like mariaschreiber.com, you've been a part of these platforms. Tell me how did you network? How did you get to being invited on these various platforms?
Well, I mean, that Maria Shriver was a long time ago. That was when
Okay.
she had her platform sort of changed, focus. So that I
Hmm.
was on the previous version of that platform. But depending on, some platforms had picked up articles that I had written, and other times I submitted the articles that I had written. And so, that's one of the things that I help people do is pitch articles and, learn the pitch process, find the
Hmm.
appropriate platform for an article. And I grew, my resume
Hmm.
by doing that. And, you want to send out a lot of submissions because you're going to get a lot of rejections, anybody.
Oh yeah.
And, it's a long process and you have to just keep at it like anything else.
Hmm.
um, if you want to start something, whether it's a blog or a business, you have to be in it for the long game and
Hmm.
just understand things are slow moving, and you just have to work really hard, as I have.
Hmm.
And there's no guarantees, and you just keep going and you push through.
Hmm.
So
It's amazing when you do things that are in alignment with your passions. that how little things just start to fall into place, and it might not, happen in this like succinct road that you plan on, but when you pay attention, there are signs and signals, that you're on the right path. The universe is always tapping you on the shoulder, yeah, when you're in alignment with your core values, with your passion.
Very true, because the work doesn't feel like work. And it was
Exactly.
when I was going through this difficult time, and the writing was one of the things that really kind of made me calm. And
Mm-hmm.
as hard as I was working, and I always treated it, when I wasn't making a dime, I always treated it as a full-time job. That was what really brought me joy, was to go
Mm-hmm.
down my stairs in the morning and sit with my computer and write something. And then, anytime somebody commented or liked it or
Right.
pulled me aside, in the grocery store and said, I've been reading your blog. Oh my God, I understand. Or, and these are not just people that were single and divorced. These were married people that I knew. And I had gotten emails over the years from strangers, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like somebody was listening, and I was
Yep.
helping somebody, while I was building whatever I was building. I didn't even know at the time. So it just gives you this like this sense of pride.
Absolutely. And, that happened for me. I was catering this event this past weekend, and just to hear the people that were eating my food, oh man, that bean dip you made was the bomb.com. Or I've had people walk up to me that I didn't really know and say, D frickin' licious. And I'm like, oh my God, you watch my cooking show. Like, yeah, you're awesome. That's hilarious. I love your cooking show. And you never know who's watching. You never know who's paying attention, because like I've had, in other incidences, people come and go, oh, I love your Facebook. I love what you share. You're so inspirational. And I'm like, I know you, because you never see them post anything. You never see them engage or comment or like your thing or anybody's anything,
Mhm.
but you never know the impact that you're making. And especially, like I said, a while ago, when you're in alignment with your core values, when you're living from your heartfelt passions, the impact, and you're also giving the people the permission to do the same from their passion.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's inspiring, and there's so many people who have inspired me along the way.
Mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm.
just
Me too. Yes.
it just, everything is, slow moving, but you're
Mm-hmm.
building, and there's baby steps, but and it could also be one step forward and two steps back, but you really just keep that forward moving motion.
Hmm. Do you know who? Of course, I'm sure you do. Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? I'm an Institute for Integrative Nutrition certified health coach,
Hmm.
and she was one of the speakers. And what uh, what is? Oh, Gabby Bernstein. Gabby Bernstein.
Sounds familiar.
She's a motivational speaker, spiritual, like she wrote a book called May Calls Miracles, and
Hmm.
it's based upon the Course in Miracles book. And one of the things that I do, I have this calendar alert on my that comes upon my phone every day at 10:10. The universe has my back. So that's one of the things that she coined. Anyway, but she was a speaker in, for the IIN course in, for certified health coaching, and she
Hmm.
talks about wanting to be on Oprah, wanting to be on Oprah, wanting to be on Oprah. Like for a year, like I want to be on Oprah. I envision myself, on Oprah. I want to be on Oprah. And she says that the day she finally gets this phone call, you know, like, Oprah Winfrey would like to have you on her show. She wants to interview you. She talks about how had it happened a moment sooner, that it would not have been the magnanimity that it was in that moment. So when
Hmm.
we are feeling impatient or things aren't happening as rapidly or as quickly as we would like them to, because we really feel, oh no, I am ready, it's actually, there's a building. And the turtle, I think there's the adage that the turtle actually it's moving slower, but it makes better results.
Hmm.
And it's that same of what you're talking about. Like it might not be happening in the quick speed that we want it, the lightning speed we want it, but it's happening in the speed that it's supposed to, so that it makes that impact, or it makes whatever it's supposed to be.
I truly believe that things happen in their own time, and I
Yes.
I believe that things happen for a reason, and that when one door closes, another one opens.
Yes.
So, and I think so much of it is, has to do with the mindset we bring to a situation. So,
Yes.
if something happens and we bring negativity to that,
Hmm.
that's what we're going to find from the situation. So, none of us look for adversity, of course, but
Right.
it makes us who we are, and we just have to kind of push through.
Right. Have you ever heard of the book E Squared?
Nope.
It's a great book by Pam Grout. And it's all about how our mind, everything that's happening out here is a direct reflection of what's going on in here. And if you tell yourself for the next 24 hours, I'm going to focus on red trucks, I'm going to see red trucks. You're going to see
Right.
red trucks, whereas you might have not have been, had that awareness of red trucks. And I talk about that a lot on Empowered Conversations. Is we don't know what we have. We don't know what we have access to until we're made aware that it even exists. Until that possibility is even in our wheelhouse, or our conscious brought reality. And
Mhm.
what you're saying is that so why it takes time is that you haven't had access to that which takes you to the next step. And when the door is closing, I actually did a meditation 2 mornings ago, and it was all about walking through a hallway where some doors are closed and others are opened, and you're to go through and just open the doors. Just keep opening the doors, just giving you that greater access to what's possible and what's next. What's your next right? And I love Oprah saying this, my next right move in your
Right.
life.
And I think you have to be open to these things. So, if you have your sight set on some goal, I think that, visualization, I'm a visual person. I'm not one of those people who does vision boards, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe in writing things down. I have my notebook
Mm-hmm.
next to me. So if I have a
Yes.
goal, I'm not the person that's gonna, cut pieces of paper and paste them on. I think that's great that people do that. But,
Mm-hmm.
I will write, down in my notebook. I'll
Mm-hmm.
circle things, and, it works. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy, but I've found that it really works. So
I
however,
learned
whatever system works for you, I would
absolutely.
definitely.
Whatever, like you said, whatever system works for you. I
Mhm,
learned about writing things down and the power of affirmations in writing,
mhm,
through Scott. Oh God, the guy who created Scott Adams, the Dilbert
mhm,
principle.
mhm,
And he was told about affirmations, and he's like, yeah, right, whatever. Well, he just wrote some remedial goal, you know, still with that skepticism, that it would work, 15 times in a row every single day. And then all of a sudden, it happens. He goes, okay, I'm going to try it with one other goal. So he starts writing at, another goal, and it happens. He's like, okay, maybe there is something to this. And then he starts writing about like a certain type of stock, or money from the stock market. And the story is he wakes up in the middle of the night with buy Chrysler, and Chrysler was like downtrodden at that point in time. He goes, what? But he did. And all of a sudden Chrysler's stock like raised. Well, he did it with something that he wanted. Like he wanted to have the number one comic, like in the
mhm,
newspapers. And Dilbert Principle and the Dogbert were like number one 3 weeks in a row. This was like 1994. And this was 2005 when I was reading his book. And that's when I started. I've got notebooks upon notebooks upon notebooks where I've just written things. And you write it. You don't say, I want, because you're always wanting. You write it as though it exists. And it
right.
does something to trick the subconscious, not trick, but to create that neural net in the subconscious mind that puts you, and again, in the alignment to where, the situations are happening that's bringing back that into your reality.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
So, should
Well,
start writing more.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, Stacey, anything else that you would like to share? Talk about like where people can find your book. I know I've provided the Amazon link.
Sure. And you can find me at staceyfreeman.com. It's
Hmm.
STACEYFREEMAN.com. There's links to more information about the book, my social media, where you can get the book. And just, I think the important takeaway here is that if you're going through a difficult time, just, stay strong, and, just baby steps, and, have the confidence in yourself that you will get
Hmm.
through a difficult time, because the sun comes up the next morning and
Yeah.
you really just stay strong and just set, even the smallest goal for yourself can be, life changing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just tune into your heart set and your mindset and
Exactly.
believe and just really fervently believe.
Hmm.
Well, guys, this has certainly been an empowered conversation show. Thank you so much, Stacey, for being here. We do have some
Thank
comments.
you.
My
Sure.
friend John Corbellini says, hello, ladies. And then I've got a Facebook user saying, hi, y'all, and hello with a rose. They're probably in my Deefa Rickenlicious and you group, which means I can't see their name. But thank you, guys, for being here and your comments and listening to us have this empowered conversation. And you stay right here, Stacey. I'm just going to end the
Okay.
broadcast and say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you. All right, guys, have a great day.